resta solo Tevez all'interno dell'area, fa fuori tutti, Tevez, si apre la porta, Tevez, gol, da dietro, Pirlo dentro,
Hey Juventini, good morning or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. But it's Alberto here. I got Anthony with me, and we're going to tackle the Mercato madness that unfolded this week, and that's what it is. It's
wild.
Just madness out there, and there's literally never a dull moment. I just wake up in the morning and I shake my head a lot at the stuff that I'm reading and seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to tackle it all, and we're going to say good morning right out of the gate. Bob, always in here right out of the gate. There you go.
Awesome.
Good morning. Thanks for another look into the Mercato muddy waters. Yes, indeed. Soon we will find out, and that is true. We will find out, and the dates that everyone need to remember are, most contract expires June 28th to June 30th, and July in the beginning is when it truly kicks off. So you will see some teams make social announcements and stuff like that on players, but nothing actually gets finalized till the beginning of July. Mohamed, the Ligt deal from Chelsea has to be a spit in the face. Oh, we'll get into Ligt.
Let's
will
just
get
pump
into
the brakes, kids.
You've been a fan for over 20 years. If they accept Tino Werner and 50 million, I'm done with this shit. Okay, let's pump the brakes there, Raven. It's gonna be okay. Tom Snipes, Deche. I like it better in time there. Deche. Tom Snipes, Deche. Good morning, guys. Let's get ready. Let's get into it. And shout out to everybody else joining us. Anthony, how you doing this morning, man?
Well, you know me, always here on Skanger Ranch, living the dream. As you can see, no one else is available because they're young and don't know how to manage their time. So obviously, I'm here to hold up the ship. Normally it's Omer. You want to know? So Omer is the only other one who's really reliable around here. But he just got married. The wife thing. She's starting to. So
yeah.
But hey, we're here. We're
Most
here for everyone here in the chat.
Still in the fetal position, sucking their thumbs right now. They don't know what it's all about. Getting up, daily grind, get to it. But we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. I'm going to also remind everybody, all the great live audience, we're always jacked to have you guys in here and all your thoughts, opinions, and everything. You don't have to wait for us to tell you when it's Storm the Barn for your questions. We can tackle them as we go through the news. So fire away whenever you're ready for any questions circulating around the Mercato. And we're going to kick this thing off. We want to talk a little bit about Di Maria, okay, before we get to the Ligt thing. So the latest report, this Di Maria thing is actually what, for me, is one of the examples that highlights how much uncertainty I actually think is out there from the journalists themselves, and the fact that I think there's way more misdirection coming from the club than in years prior. And I actually think that there's a lot of misdirection being put out there by Juve on purpose. And I think you can see it in the fact that when you look at these guys that are usually pretty solid, they're all over the map, even amongst themselves. Like, not even just comparing, say Di Marzio to Shearer or whatever. Like, Shearer's the one I will say is like this. Mirko Di Natale is kind of like this. But even Romeo Agresti as of late is kind of doing one of these quite often. So, this Di Maria thing's a prime example. Momblano. Okay, Momblano. His answer is yes to Juve. Thanks, man. Thanks. Albanese. Juve has given up on him. That's as of 2 days ago. Romeo Agresti. There is no answer yet. Shearer. Di Maria hasn't said yes or no. Mirko Di Natale, the only one during this past week that said Sunday was the day that Juventus would shift their focus entirely. An answer not arrive in. So there you have it. The latest answer today is that apparently Di Maria is asking for more time. To expand on that, another outlet has said that basically he is waiting for Barcelona And if that doesn't happen, then it will be Juventus. So take that for what it's worth. For a while there, I thought maybe this guy was vacationing on the Bermuda Triangle. Like, it just, what, we don't get an answer. What's going on? But I do think that there's not a lot of certainty amongst these journalists. And what do you think?
Well, let's just go back to your first point. The market isn't even open yet. July 1st is when it fully opens. I know there's other countries, they all open at different times because leagues all start at different times. So that's one. Two, he's on vacation. These guys train day in, day out for 8 months. When they go off the grid, they go off the grid. So, eating, drinking, doing whatever they want. I would too, man. If I had to deal with that 7-8 days a week, I'd go off the grid too. So you have to understand that there's a little bit of, hey, I'll get to it when I get to it. And why wouldn't he wait longer? He sees that there's interest from Juventus. He knows Juventus isn't going anywhere, right? I think maybe the Kostic deal is going to probably take a little bit longer than expected. But Frankfurt just signed essentially a replacement for Kostic. I believe that happened this week. So that might be speeding up. So I think Di Maria knows he has options, unlike some other player that just left Juventus. Maybe we'll get to that later. But he has options. So why would he be in a rush? He has the potential to get more money somewhere else for 1 year or 2 years, whatever length he wants. And this is basically his last contract. So he's gonna pick and choose. Crappy for us because he fills a hole that we need. But I don't blame him. And it's, in terms of the misdirection, it makes total sense, Al. Like, why wouldn't the team do that? Like, they don't want their entire business splashed out on the headlines. So they're going to be sending stuff out. They're going to send some stuff to some reporters. They're going to send out some information internally, knowing it's going to get to certain reporters. So these games are played all the time. Even here in North America, they're played. So
yeah,
not surprising one bit.
So is that A saying, why do you think there's been this much misdirection this year? I don't even necessarily think a lot of it is necessarily misdirection, but there's misdirection in every Mercato. And a lot of it can be unintentional. And that's just because Juve, especially right now, this is the time. If it truly opens in early July, it makes sense. You would spend all this time in June. So they've got Pogba locked in. That's been confirmed by all the top dogs now. Like, it's done. Come early July, between the 4th and the 8th, whatever, he's going to be in Turin. They're putting final pen to paper. So Raffaella Biamenti there, she was the one basically looking after the last details. And she was also involved in speaking to events about Ligt. There are good articles on her now, looking after the legal side of things. And she's been involved. One of the few full-time staff at Raiola's agency before he passed, actually. So there are interesting articles on her if you're looking to read into it, labeled as one of the most powerful women in football. So it's going to be interesting if she's kind of being looked at as that, as well as obviously Mino's brothers and relatives that are involved in the agency. But I don't think it's necessarily always intentional. Juve is going to spend all this month looking at all the possibilities. If you finally get that answer from Di Maria, or even if it just comes to a breaking point where you can't wait any longer, you need to know where you're moving in the next phase and whatnot. And
you need to know where you're moving, but you have to, I think they know that they're going to get sideswiped at some point. Ligt potentially a sideswipe, right? So they have to game plan for a lot of different scenarios. Like, you've said it a lot on this pod, Al. I wouldn't want Adiva Ben and Kirabini's job right now.
No. And this Ligt thing, I mean, do we just get into it right now? Do we just get into this Ligt thing right now?
Well, I think Di Maria, I think that it says what's said, right? Like, you have to wait. You either wait him. I don't think our market is gonna move on his decision. I think we have enough other pieces to fill that, we can still go over, get Kostic, potentially another winger, because Bernardeschi's gone. Who knows what might happen with Cuadrado? I think he stays, but there's those kind of rumors coming out there. But yeah, the big one is Ligt. Like what?
I mean,
that went for me to nothing to.
So if we're going to talk about Cherubini and Arriva Bene's gig, like it's already extremely challenging. This Ligt thing, massive curveball. So if we start looking at this and, it starts off at the beginning with the live chat and how these Juventini feel, which is,
we
that's
even start
in the face of an offer, which would be 50 plus Timo Werner. Okay. And then you look at just Ligt, there's Koulibaly mentions, there's Bremer mentions, there's number one, the fact that what I'm reading a lot on social media isn't in fact how it would play out, because everybody's taking the sale figure and instantly believing that that's the full amount that goes straight to your capital, that is instantly what you can spend. That's not the case, because we still owe 40 to that deal that brought Ligt in, because he's 3 years into a 5-year contract that was just shy of 100 million euros. You could pretty much round it to 100 million euros. So 3 years into it, there's still 40 million roughly that it stands us. So if you work a deal where you get 90, 50 goes to your capital gain. And obviously, when you're looking at terms, what you bring in is how much you can spend according to the rules. And we definitely want to follow them after trying to get Super League going. So you want to follow those rules. Very, very key point there. So saying we're going to sell them for 90, you're going to spend 50 on an X player and then 40 on another. That's not going to fly. And then for me, the biggest thing is I asked a question to Juventini out there, and I said, if you are going to lose Ligt, what player, we asked it from the All Juve Cascal, would you accept in a move from Chelsea? My answer is simple. Absolutely none. Absolutely none. Because now all of a sudden you're taking in wages again, and you're not truly getting that amount of value to your capital, and you need a starting center back. Bremer is as good as done to Inter. Like that, how quickly Juve shifted and signed Gatti, I thought was going to be some type of bargaining chip or some way to hold Torino almost ransom, as that was their go-to when Bremer leaves. The fact that they jumped on that quick, I don't really still believe 100% that it's just Gatti's being ushered in. Like, I always thought there was something. They were trying to do some type of end game there, but I could be wrong. He looked good against England, but he's not ready. Like, a lot of people are talking like he's ready. He's not going to be immediate impact, and you need a starting center back.
Hopefully he is, but let's just pump the brakes on Gatti. He was good against England. So basically he's a Serie B player. He's a Serie B player.
But I don't believe he'll come to Juventus no matter what. So
I have a better chance of playing center back for Juventus than Koulibaly does.
Yeah. It's slim pickings at center back right now. So this is a big curveball for Juve to try and figure out here. If Koulibaly would in fact say yes, though, I'd feel a hell of a lot better if we had to pull the trigger, if Ligt is in fact trying to push for a move, if Chelsea the interest has been confirmed. Chelsea's highly interested.
Yeah.
Are they interested enough to pull the trigger on the 120 million release clause? Don't think so. Don't think any team's going to pull that trigger. But him trying to get the release clause lowered, or even say, I want to move this summer, that's difficult, because how do you navigate that, Ant? You'd have to try and find a deal this year, or do you just say, well, no, we'll take our chances going into his final season of contract next year? You can't necessarily do that, I think.
I was always, I was always on the Ligt train. I even said it, I think it was in January, I said, I would extend Ligt before I extend Chiesa. I think he's that important to the back line, and to the team as a whole. But there's with this interest, I think this is just planting a seed. I don't see Ligt leaving this summer, but thinking about it more, we were talking about this before the show a little bit. I think a deal could get done in January. Aliva Bennett was saying that January is going to be a big window. I could see the deal getting done in January for him to move next summer. It's just we just don't have a replacement. This will buy a little bit of time, January next summer, to find a replacement. Because, like you said, there are 0 center backs on the market right now. We have no one in the system. You're gonna slide Danilo in to center back. Like, what are your options? You have to start Gatti or Rugani and Bonucci. Like, what are we doing here? That is a scary thought. I don't see it moving, but I do see the interest. People just, kicking tires, and Chelsea's going to be doing it because they're the one team that everyone can think of that needs a center back. I don't see it happening this summer. I do see it happening now, potentially next summer for this amount, for 60 to 70 million. And this could also just be De Ligt's entourage just pressuring Juventus a little bit to get that release clause lowered. It could just be that. It could just be that game as well.
Like, that's a good point too. It could definitely be Raiola's agency just trying to maneuver this thing, speed things along, get like some type of extension laid in there and finalized. But this is also strange to think about too, because the timeline, like, we're only 2 weeks beyond De Ligt speaking about saying that the discussions like just kind of really started and speaking good and positively about the time at Juve and whatnot. And then it's almost like you don't really hear anything about talks, a meeting that was basically to seal Pogba and finalize those. And then, like, really the first time you heard about them sitting down on De Ligt and just like, oh, talks are not going well. Chelsea's jumping on this. It's like, what? Really? I don't necessarily buy it completely either. But I always said, when the first news hit about him even wanting to renew or lower the release clause on a renewal, that's an indication on its own that he's thinking, escape route. And it's never a good sign, because if you were fully in and locked in, no matter what, you wouldn't even care. You'd be like, yeah, whatever. That release clause could be whatever the hell it was. So he's setting himself up should he need to go. So there's definitely that thought is definitely there with that side. Juventus, I believe their intentions are to extend him and have him around. And we said that even from the get-go. You are opening up a big can of worms in losing De Ligt right now. It just, it's the worst time. We have way too much to work with already. And this is why I have such a soft spot for Cherubini and Arriva Bene, because even when they came into this job, it was a tough task. Now this curveball is like ridiculous. But honestly, I expect De Ligt playing with Juve this season.
Yep, fully agree with that. Yeah, I don't.
So it's just, I don't think, and people are. So let's get to some of these comments in the chat, because it's like, well, why don't they try to convince Koulibaly first and whatnot? Well, I honestly, it's interesting because through all this Koulibaly thing, what we've heard from journalists and some reliable guys is that it's just been an idea. There's never actually been anything like that's been followed through upon. Like, no discussions, no nothing. Like, and then the hearsay of Koulibaly saying he would never go to Juve. So I don't know if now there is that, next step from Juve, and say Cherubini or Arriva Bene reaches out and say, hey, would you? You know what I mean? If we step up and do this. I mean, it's worth the phone call.
Yeah. You ever try and walk a donkey down a path that it doesn't want to go? That's like trying to pull Koulibaly to Juventus. It's not happening, man. You can pull all you want. That son of a bitch ain't going anywhere. So
I would love it. I would love it. Oh, man.
I would take Koulibaly in a heartbeat. And I wouldn't even really care about the dollar figure or how much he's asking for. I think he's the best defender in Serie, top 3, top 2. I think he's right there. And I know some people have an issue with the age. I don't care about the age. I would at 31, I would sign him for 4 years.
Yeah.
I think he's that good.
Yeah.
But
I
you can
know,
pull
like,
that donkey all you want.
hear the
He's not coming.
31-year-olds and all this and whatnot, and like
look at the player. Look how good he is. Like, he's not slowing down.
there's no worries there, and he's the only guy right now available that's kind of that's there that would give me a better feeling about going in if you're going to lose Ligt. There's other names that have been mentioned, Pau Torres and whatnot, and that's a drop off as well. Kimpembe from PSG, I mean, good shout, but I don't see it. I don't know.
This got to get Bremer out of your minds, kids. Bremer's not coming to Juventus.
Yeah.
Not happening.
If you had Koulibaly or Bremer ready to come in, I'd feel better. I'd feel better about doing that. But right now, I think you got to take a shot and maybe get outside of that World Cup and look at that window post World Cup after that break and maybe try and swing something. And then you have to start planning, because right now the list isn't that good, guys, for center backs. I mean, shit. I can see us taking that money and wrapping up with Acerbi and Milinkovic and being like, okay, here we go. And God save us all if that's the route we end up going. But the Ligt thing, I want to wait until a little more unfolds there, because it was also a very, very quiet day before that news kind of hit out too. So it's like, let's just wait and see what develops there. Now, in terms of other news, my God, Keane is an interesting one. So Nico Shearer came back this week saying that the discussions could creep up again with PSG and Keane. So that could come into play. And then Paredes is the guy apparently Juventus likes from there coming in. Paredes, like, for me, when I think about this whole situation, Keane is a very, very high priority for Juventus to deal with. Like,
yes, this
is another reason why you just gotta go easy on Cherubini and Arrivabene, because my God, man. So he's got another year alone, and then the obligation kicks in.
38 million.
They got to figure something out there, because I'm telling you, you go into that obligation, brutal. So it's almost at this point, you almost got to kind of push off your complete thoughts on Paredes. I don't mind him as a midfielder. Is he the exact guy we're looking for? Probably not, in all honesty. But dealing with Moise Keane and getting out of that obligation is the biggest thing. And they have to sort a way out of that, because that's going to bite us in the ass if we come down to it and we just have to get an obligation for him without an end game. The positive is that we're hearing Keane wants to leave. But
yeah, but he has no real say in it. Like, that is the one bad deal that Cherubini and Arrivabene have made. But it was sort of in rush, with Ronaldo leaving, they had to bring him in. So you don't kind of give him a little bit of a pass on that one. But it's a terrible deal, and you have to deal with Everton. So you have the player who wants out, that's fine. But then you have to get Everton to agree to the deal to the team that he's moving to, because they're still part of this as well. So, because Everton's just like, we'll just take our 38 million and see you later.
Yeah. Like, well, Everton wouldn't have to agree to the team he's moving to, because the deal would be Juventus purchasing him prior, becoming the owner, and then moving him on.
Right, but if you want to move him without paying the 38 million, you have to get Everton to agree.
That won't happen.
Then that's the thing. So
I don't think there's any deal where that happens. They're gonna have to purchase him for that price and then move him on.
And then move him. So you almost need that. You need that end deal first for 38 million plus 50 cents.
Yeah.
To make sure you cover your losses, to cover your bet there with Keane. I think Keane was a big gamble. I think we all had a lot of high hopes for him. He had however many goals with PSG the year before with 17, but he was playing with some all-stars over there. It just didn't work. It just didn't work, and I don't see it working. Some people want him to stay. They think that there is something there. You and I, well, you've called him, football trampoline, and I fully agree with that assessment. I don't see it. I don't see how he takes that next step. I know he's young, but normally you can sort of see flashes of it. Okay, give him a little bit more time and he'll make that next step. But with Keane, I just don't see it.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one, but they got to sort that out. And yeah, you were right in your assessment on them too, because it's like I do kind of feel bad because it was like the Ronaldo thing out of the blue at the worst possible time, and not a lot of options there at that time. So that was a difficult one to really put the screws to management on. It was totally, and Dad just hits it on the head right here. It was a panic buy. It totally was. But
100%.
Still, I didn't mind it at the time because of how he was playing at PSG, but he was playing as a winger. Not that, stand-up standard 9, but my God, did it not amount to anything for us. It just really, really didn't. But it's hard to really kill management and crucify them over that one because it was just such bad timing.
Again, another problem that Adiva Bennett and Kitabini have to deal with.
Yeah. Now, Raven's saying that Gianluca Di Marzio is not some jabroni. If he said that Juve didn't decline that offer instantly, that they like Werner, and it's worrying. I mean, yeah, be concerned because it's an awful deal, in my personal opinion.
Hang
if
on.
You're going to accept it.
Well, look at this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey.
Oh, yes.
Live from the forklift again?
Yep. Yeah, he's on the forklift again.
Yeah, I thought I'd take the opportunity. No, I have just like 1 minute, but I wanted to say hello for the people who missed it last time.
Yeah. What are we hauling around today?
Oh, you don't want to know. All types of fruits.
Oh, as long as it's not bodies, then you're right.
Yeah. I was thinking like bodies as soon as you said that. I was like, oh, okay, let's keep that out there. But yeah.
Yeah, but there are tons of noise here. So, fellas, we don't want Werner. The Ligt is staying. I can promise you. And that's about it.
You can promise me De Ligt stays. Okay.
Yeah, he has to. And by the way, Juve can say no. That's an option.
There you go. It's a very good point.
Yeah. God damn it, the guy with the tractor is following me.
Let's see this guy.
Yeah, get him out of the way. Tell him you're busy. You're on a show. What's going on here?
Yeah, I try to, but he's from Thailand, so we don't speak the same language.
Omer talks Thai real good.
Yeah, the Ligt is staying, I can promise you.
What about Di Maria? Is he coming or what? From the forklift?
Doesn't look like it. Actually, I kind of had enough of it. He needs more time. The window is just around the corner. Can't wait too long. Teams are going to move and players we are after are going to find new clubs. And eventually we'll settle for someone we didn't want to, but we had no choice but taking. So either Luca. Close it in the next week or bye-bye.
Yeah, Mirko said Sunday. Mirko said tomorrow's the day. Juventus says that's it. So we'll see.
Yeah, and Romeo said they need more time. So a lot of conflicting reports. I don't know what to believe.
You're right on De Ligt. Juventus obviously can just say flat out no, but you're still one way or another going into your final year with De Ligt, and you can't just let the contract run, and you got to find a deal for him.
But a good season might convince him to stay.
Maybe.
Right, he goes till 2024, so he's got another year. So he got 2 seasons.
After this year, if we turn say he accepts the deal to Chelsea, wants to go there, and Chelsea's trying to make a deal with us, we just say no, flat out, unless they pay the release clause.
Yeah, I can't.
You're also upsetting De Ligt though if it's his will.
I can tell you that the same thing happened last year.
What's that?
Yeah.
What?
Smoke.
Sorry, guys, I'm cutting out.
Okay.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Okay. Thanks, General Forklift. So that's the one thing, like with the Ligt, is that we didn't really get into. Like, if Juve just flat out says no, you're still going into the final year after this year. After saying no to that deal, that's a tough spot too. Because then if De Ligt, if he goes in final year, he can just say, screw you guys, I'll just go somewhere on when my time runs. I don't think he would do that. But it's always interesting when you cut into the player's will.
Yeah.
Like it's a tough one.
Let's just Juventus would never say no to 120 million.
They can't say no to 120 mil. It's the release clause. If a team paid that, he's gone.
Right.
It's not.
No one's paying 120 million though.
What we're talking about is if Chelsea's coming in with 90 million total value or 100 million total value, then it's a yes or no for Juventus. Nobody is going to pay 120 mil for a center back. Like, it could be Jesus Christ himself standing there as a player available. They're not going to spend 120 million on De Ligt, and Chelsea won't either. I'd be shocked. If they do, though, it's not a yes or no from Juventus. It's done and gone. See ya.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a problem too. But then all of a sudden we get way more capital on a 120 deal than a 90 mil deal. Again, who are you going to go out and get? You'd have to hope that Bremer, you could swing it, but it's already done deal. He's done.
Does Neymar play center back? Because that's what we need. Because I don't think Neymar plays center back.
Neymar, I haven't even been entertaining Neymar and Ronaldo talks. But
how would Neymar go from 30 million a season wages to 4?
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Okay. We had some couple really, really good polls on the main account on Twitter. And we're going to start tackling some of these. I can't wait to see the live chat and how they feel about all this stuff, okay?
This is going to be good.
The first one was a poll on the youngsters because there seems to be so much divide on these players and who needs to be integrated next season. So the question was, you can only pick one of these guys to integrate next season. And before I even reveal the results, I want to start seeing who the picks are. And feel free to comment in the live chat, guys, why you picked that player. But Miretti, Fagioli, or Ravella, you can only pick one of them. Why, who is it, and whatnot. We're going to start this one with Ant and who your pick is. And Lorenzo wasted no time representing the Ravella Hive. Ant?
I'm going to start with saying something positive about Ravella. I have never been against the player. I've always just never had anything good to say about the player because he's not physically in the building. So I do not agree with the whole injury. Ravella's injury prone. Not the case. He had how many coaches this year? 4? 3 at Genoa? It was a mess. Coaching was a mess. He took an injury, but he wasn't out the whole time with injury. They brought him back slow. The team stunk, so there was no real reason to integrate him back in quickly. So as it's hard to put, for me, Moretti's third on that list. I'll put him third because he's the youngest. He's only barely 18. Looked good when he played with the first team. Ravella is the only one with Serie experience. Only one. Fagioli impressed a lot with Cremonese and Serie B. So, and he's the oldest. For me, it's Fagioli, but not by much ahead of Ravella. Now, I would want to see Ravella sold. I'm not that much of a douchebag, but I just think, like, body-wise, mentally, I just think Fagioli's just that much ahead of Ravella.
Yeah.
Physically ready to go. So,
at the start of this poll, Miretti was a landslide. He didn't end up winning it. My pick was Fagioli. Miretti was the one I ruled out immediately on integrating into this team this season. I know how people feel about Miretti, and there's a lot of Juventini that think he's got the highest potential out of all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily believe that's the case right out of the gate. What he showed us last season was good. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that is the prime candidate for a loan.
Mm-hmm.
He's prime candidate for a loan out there. I don't think it would do him any good to do what's being discussed, which is a mix of U23 and Juve. Find a loan, find some steady Serie A minutes.
Monza.
Jump on it quickly and get him Serie A minutes, okay? Fagioli and Rovella. I made my decision as Fagioli for a couple of reasons. Number one, we kind of dropped the ball on the loan because it should have never been a Serie B loan on Fagioli. I don't think it should have been a Serie B loan because that question will still follow him like it's following Gatti, because there's a big, big step. If any of you have watched Serie B, like, it's good. It's professional football, but it's night and day from Serie A. There's just no way around it. It's night and day. There are a lot more subpar players in Serie B than there are like in Serie A, and it's night and day. Still professional ball and good ball, but a big, big drop from Serie A. That question's gonna follow Fagioli, and that's on us because we loaned him in Serie B where we shouldn't have. The other thing is, if it is in fact a risk to lose Fagioli completely, because the renewal's not done. It's not done yet. They said there was positive discussions and look for it to get done, but it's not done yet.
I think there's another meeting this week.
If we have a chance of not renewing him because we don't integrate him, hands down, I bring him in and integrate him in the year. Rovella. I really like Rovella. Watching him play like Genoa and whatnot, like I like the guy. I like what he brings. I think he's a good player. I'm not gonna lie. There are some moves that are interesting when they're calling for Rovella as one of the counterparts. The fact that he has a lot of teams interested is also a big, big sign for Rovella. And he's got the most experience in the actual league out of all three of them. It's between Rovella and Fagioli. The kicker for me, which player do we need more? I think Fagioli could be a cutting-edge player for the final third because we lack that instinct in and around the area, out of the midfield, and the passing and vision that he carries. Rovella, great passer, great vision, but a little bit further back, more reserved. He can get advanced and do that, but I don't know. For whatever reason, the kicker for me, my gut is telling me Fagioli should be with this team next season.
Would you sell Rovella then?
I don't want to see.
Would you sell him to bring Zaniolo in?
I honestly don't see a reason why we can't have Fagioli and Rovella in this team next year.
True. Yeah.
Rabiot, let's find a deal. He'll be on his way out.
Oh, yeah, he's still here. Oh, man.
Ramsey's going to be bought out, but he wasn't on the roster anyways for the last part. Artur is the kicker.
Tough deal to get rid of.
I know. But if you can find a way, I have Fagioli and Rovella in there. So the poll finished. Miretti came out of the gates, 35%. Fagioli finished with 39%. And Rovella last with 26%.
That's wild.
That is wild.
Because he's injury prone.
That's wild. Yeah. That's wild to me. But it's interesting hearing everybody's thoughts and whatnot. And Rovella's getting a lot of shouts because of, the most experience in Serie A and whatnot. Fagioli's getting shouts because the fear of losing him completely, right? Now, I'm going to ask you the same question you asked me. Would you use Rovella as a piece in a deal? What player would you? The rumors were Zaniolo.
Yeah, we have so many holes to fill, and I know Lou said this in our group chat. This is why you develop youth for times like this when you have to sell some to get other players in to fill places of need. I would use Ravella in a deal if it's the right deal. I don't know if Zaniolo's the right deal. I'd have to think about that one a lot more. Even though I'm a big Zaniolo fan, I think he fills a spot that we need to fill, so it makes the most sense. It's I would probably do that deal this summer just because we have so many holes and we have that player to sell, right? And we're not sacrificing another spot by releasing that young player. We have others. We have Meretti in the system still who can kind of fill that Rovella vacancy that happened. So I wouldn't be as concerned, but I would like some people say here, like you said, if we can keep both, I would. But for someone like Zaniolo, I would do it. For someone like Berardi, I think I would also do it.
Yeah.
To get that 40 million down. I think Berardi would, because he's 28, 29. I might get burned for this one, but I would put Rovella in a deal to Sassuolo for him.
Really?
I think I would, because we have such. If the Di Maria doesn't get done, I would put Ravella. I'd package Ravella to get Berardi in to get that 40 million down.
Oh man, I gotta say that's a hard no for me right away.
Mm-hmm.
I just no. It's gotta be, if we're gonna lose one of those three guys, it's gotta be a serious deal. Moretti's not going to generate enough out of the interest there to make that big move. So he's got to be loaned out in Serie A. In terms of Rovella, it's got to be immediate and serious impact because you're passing out on future, right? So that's a tough one. In terms of Rovella, it's gotta be a really, really key deal. Otherwise, I'd look at
Berardi. People gotta take that Azzurri fiasco out of it. Berardi is a very, very good Serie A player. Plus 16, 17 goals the past 2-3 years. Like he scores and assists in Serie A. He's a very, very effective Serie A player.
I agree.
Right?
But it's not enough for me to sacrifice Rovella.
Fair enough.
40 mil?
Got to get that down. Can't pay 40 mil for him.
No. So to throw him in on that one, that's a little tough for me, man. That's tough for me.
Would you throw Moretti in on that deal for Berardi?
I'm not gonna lie. I don't like throwing anybody in for Berardi.
Fair enough.
I think it's a deal.
You just don't want him at all.
No, it's not necessarily that, because I said I would take him if it comes down to that. He's not a guy I would sacrifice future, especially at high prospects like that. I don't know. I don't know, man. Not for Berardi. Zaniolo, would you do it for Zaniolo? Would you shift Rovella for Zaniolo? You said yes. You'd probably do that.
I'd probably say yes. In this market, with these needs at this time, I know down the road there's always like the hindsight's 2020. Why'd we do that deal? But you have to look at it in this market right now. Yes, I would.
Yeah, that is one. That's a real discussion for me. Like that's a real tough one where you guys sit down and really, really think about it. But Berardi, it's not that I don't like the guy, and his statistics are great in Serie A.
I think we got some. Is this live news here? Maybe Dino can put that in the chat.
It says that this is what Di Maria has said apparently to ESPN.
Yeah, he's on vacation. That's what I said at the beginning of the show. On vacation, I'll worry about it down the road. I'll see what other offers I get. It's free agency, man. Why wouldn't they? He's looking for a payday for his last year plus option year, and then he's going to go to MLS, make about 40 mil. and then retire in Ibiza somewhere.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what goes down. Like I said, I think the time's going to come where Juve just decides and moves on here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So Dell's asked a question: has Zaniolo shown much more than Berardi? Huh.
Well, different ages. They're different situations, different clubs, different.
Berardi took a long time to truly like blossom, I guess, if you say blossom. So I don't really know.
Yeah, that's 7 years difference, right? So
yeah, and Zaniolo's Berardi's always going to have that thing about the clubs he's playing for, though, too, and never taking that step when the time came, right? So I don't know. Zaniolo's been with Roma and whatnot, and regardless of numbers, watching him play this year, he's actually hard done by statistically based on what I was seeing, because I wasn't necessarily down on many of his performances. So it's interesting. Interesting anyways. Here's one. Here's another poll that was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a poll finish 50-50%, okay? And I want to see the live chat on this one. Reminder, everybody, too, like the video. Let's go.
You're here.
Hit those thumbs up. You're already in here. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. It's all Juve all the time. What more could you need? What more could you want?
No idea what else we'd be doing on Saturday morning.
Rumors circulated.
About
Icardi. We have a loyal viewer and listener who every single video, Edgar, was always in there. Icardi. I asked the question based on the rumor. Icardi, on a dry loan with zero obligation, with PSG picking up half his salary, would you accept him to Juventus?
150,000%. But what's the salary? You want to know something? Doesn't matter. For this 1 year, if it dry loan, get somebody in, backup, knows the league. Okay, his wife is a lunatic. He's a bit of a lunatic. Doesn't matter. You get his ass in there immediately. I know Sweet Lou's gonna say, probably take a strip off me for that one, but oh yeah, 150%. You get that done. Today,
I think when you look at this thing and you take all the noise and all the background out of it, right? It's Vice Vlahovic.
Yep.
It's a Vice Vlahovic role. Okay? So we all have to remember that. The other thing is, out of all the other names mentioned, he is instantly amongst the top. There's only one other pick that I would do prior if it came down to it, and that's probably Simeone, because
that's what I was going to say. Yep.
That is the only other name, but every other name I would pick Icardi above.
Help me out with that. The fella from Bologna. The fella from Bologna.
The nonsense out of there.
The 31-year-old.
The fact that it would be $5 million, even better. PSG picking up that low obligation is the kicker. Dry loan. It's hard to say no to him as a Vice Vlahovic. It's hard to say no.
Well, is it Milinkovic from Bologna? The striker?
Arnautovic.
So I was thinking
Arnautovic is 33, and I like him. I like the fact that he's a bit of an asshole too, and I think we're too soft, but
he'd be third on the list. I agree with your list there. I'd put those three of the ones that were linked to. Now, Romeo Agresti did say this week, he said someone within Juventus told him you would be shocked at the list of players that have offered themselves to Juventus so far this summer. And I don't doubt it, because Juventus has a lot of holes. There's a lot of players who are looking, okay, I can get a payday, Champions League, and good football. So I don't doubt that Icardi's been floated. I don't doubt that Neymar has been mentioned in a conversation. I don't think there's anything serious there, but I don't doubt that Luis Suarez was mentioned in a conversation. I don't doubt the Ligt thing. I don't doubt like Simeone was brought up maybe a month ago, and then it just went cold. That's why I'm hoping this is an actual thing, because the Zakaria thing was sort of out of the blue. The name was kind of thrown around, then it went quiet. McKennie was out of the blue. I think if there is going to be a surprise this summer, I think Simeone is going to be the one, because it's not being talked about anywhere. There's a lot of other stuff going on over here. That, hey, look at this shiny thing. I think they're cooking up something on the other side.
We have to come out of pocket on that one, which is tough. It's tougher for how much we probably have to come out of pocket. I'm also curious if Simeone would accept that Vice Vlahovic role. I hope he would.
Like I said before, he's got to start. He's got to be on the side with Vlahovic. Yeah, so he's probably not even that vice role. But if you don't get Di Maria,
it's kind of tough. The Raspadori thing is just kind of died out and faded immediately.
Yeah. Whenever we played Sassuolo, he had like a good 5 minutes and then he disappeared. So, if anyone who watched the show enough, I'm not wasting my whole weekend watching other Serie A teams, especially when the NFL's on. But I don't watch Raspadori enough to say, oh, yeah, he'll feel good enough for this player. But he's still only what, 18, 19? Like, he's still very young. Completely died off.
Yeah, it's like those talks have just kind of completely shut down. However, every time one of these journalists wants to jump on the fact that this Di Maria thing could end up negatively with a no, he does creep up. But Berardi seems to be the guy as apparently the highest priority. Again, is he, or is that a misdirection? We have to see. Who really knows? But Kostic is a weird one for me, because it should just be done. It should just be a done piece of business. What are we like? We understand you're looking at domino effect based on deals or whatnot, but that one for me at 15 million euros, just get it done. Even if you have to go to 20. You're talking about a guy with numbers, good age, like a left-sided player where we are extremely weak on. That's a no-brainer for me. And that piece of business has to get closed off immediately.
So there's actually some AJC news. So as we're here doing this, the rest of the team is pumping news out. So how about I read some news to you and get your reaction live on air for this one? Are you ready for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
From Albanese. So Luca Pellegrini has suitors in the Premier League where he's valued at 10 to 15 million. Pretty fair valuation.
Fair.
But then we're stuck with Sandro. Cambiasso will take his place. A deal will be 3 million plus Dragusin in exchange. So does that fill that hole? You get rid of Pellegrini. Is Cambiasso like for you with that one?
Cambiasso is the opposite side, which actually is okay. It makes sense because De Chilio extended. So they're probably going to go left side. Sandro just sticking around. If there would be a bright side to moving De Ligt, is that we would have the money to just terminate that contract too and pay him whatever. Yeah, and Ramsey
just that stone in the shoe, right?
Get the hell out of here. I don't think we should be moving Pellegrini, but we kind of have to because of the fact they're not going to buy out Sandro. It's interesting that it's 5 million for Cambiasso rumored plus Dragusin.
3
plus Dragusin. Huh.
Dragusin hasn't really played with our team anyway, so.
No, he did decent on his loan out last year. He still would have a lot of growing to do, but center backs, we have to start grooming our center backs. I mean, we've let so many go, and it's like never given them opportunities, and Demirol should have been kind of that next wave, and we just let him go.
Is that one done? Maybe just refresh the people. Is Demirol has that clause been exercised, or they've been confident that it will?
Where it's left off is that it is going to be exercised. I got the times mixed up. It's actually they have until end of June to do it. So,
but all indication is that Atalanta is going to pull the trigger.
All the indicators are that Atalanta will do it. So, yeah, I mean, Cambiasso, that's fine. Again, though, it's not top pick, right? And the top pick, the price tags that were rumored wasn't that much. Like for me, you've got a week of hot and heavy talks. Molina. Even the prices are well within. Like now you're dropping.
And you have the agreement of the player. You have the player. The rumors were that the player has given his okay to Juventus as well.
Yeah, be interesting. It'd be interesting.
Got another one.
And I see mentions of Udogie and whatnot. Udogie seems to be done as of like a month ago. Like just not going to happen this year. And
he's going to stay there.
That was coming especially from Udinese. So wasn't going to happen. The fact that we were looking at both of their guys too, Udogie and Molina, I can't see Udinese, pulling the trigger on both. So you got to take that too. But the Cambiasso one, it's not bad. Not a bad deal. I mean, you're pulling 15-20 for Pellegrini. That's pretty good, to be honest. For a number that you're pulling from him. Dragisin plus 3 mil is like next to nothing. So they're probably going to come out pretty good in terms of capital on that one. Have to dissect the numbers to see. But yeah, I don't really necessarily have an issue with that one at all.
Then there's your Molina deal, right? You get that one done. You just, that's a wash. And you put that money, that 15 million.
Well, I don't think so. If you're bringing Cambiasso, like, then that's why I'm saying, like, now all of a sudden you're not doing anything other than Cambiasso at that fullback position.
No, then you can put that. You sell Pellegrini, you bring Molina in. I'm saying those two deals can wash, right?
Yeah, but you've just signed Cambiasso. So if you got Cambiasso, you've got Danilo, you've got Deschilio, you've got Sandro, and you still have Cuadrado. What are we doing here? Like, who else is moving? So the whole thing here is Sandro. Sandro needs to just fade away into the night. Like, even if we're going to pay that contract, he shouldn't be a spot on this roster next season. I will die on that hill. He should just not be around. And that's fine if they can't move him. They can't figure anything out for him. Thank you very much. You're happy collecting your money. You can go sit down over there in the corner and hang out because we're done with you.
So again, this is I think what we talked about earlier is they have to have a lot of different pokers in the fire, because if the Molina deal collapses, you have to have this Cambiasso one ready to go. So you got to kind of get everything ready. So again, another thing here from Albanese this morning on through the All Juve cast on Twitter is what we were already talking about. So the Keane Paredes swap has been in the mix for some time now. On Keane, the player has wanted to move away, and PSG are interested in returning him. For Paredes, there's another offer on the table, but the player appreciates Juventus. I don't know what the hell the word appreciates mean, but he's probably like, oh, that's nice. Again, not everybody wants to come to Juventus. So everyone's like, oh, why can't we get this player, that player? Like Bremer is a perfect example. He does not want to come to Juventus.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
And then look at Cambiasso has played left back, but not as much. So he can.
I have no doubt this is what the conversations are like in the Juventus offices. I'm talking about one thing, Al's talking about another thing, and sometimes you kind of meet in the middle and be like, "Are we talking about the same thing?" I don't think we are. Okay, well, who cares? Because we have enough. We have too many problems, too many fires to put out right now.
That's the thing. So Cambiasso is not a bad piece of business, but it's not top target. It's not top target again, right? So it's kind of one of those things where I'm really, yeah. If they still swing Molina though. Okay. But then you still got to figure something out. But apparently, it's interesting. He spent less time at left back than he did left midfield for the team he played last year, Cambiasso. So more left-sided. That's okay. That's fine. But Sandro's still around. Deschilio's been extended, so this is the kicker. Somebody's got to go. Remember, Paulo Nomolo said he does not believe things are as they seem with Cuadrado.
He did say that.
That's an interesting one. So, yeah. But Cambiaso, okay, left side. I stand corrected. Left side, cool.
Take it easy. Let's take it easy, everybody.
Cool.
We make like 2 mistakes a year, so there's one.
3 a year. But God, I burned one before in the off season. That's bad.
Yeah.
Burned one in the off season. That's okay though. Now, let's get to some of these. What we got? Are prospects having doubts in joining Juve? Are we attractive or convincing enough for them? Ooh. And tackle.
Well, when I think of prospects, I think of youth players. So maybe I don't think that's what Jeremiah is talking about. But I think we attract a lot of prospects. I think the Kitabini and the youth program. And now we have is it Chio Ferrara who just signed on as the U19 coach? Montero. So, we have some of these legends coming back into the coaching system. Juventus does a great job of attracting prospects in the youth system. In terms of the 21 to 24-year-old prospects, I think we're still – Ligt was really the only one that we ever did of that caliber. So I think we do have a problem attracting prospects in that 19 to 24 range. Well, we'll see how the summer goes, because what's a prospect? It's, is Molina a prospect? I think he's a good prospect.
Yeah.
Udogi, good prospect. So I think we haven't done it in a while. I think we've done the big splash like the Higuain, the Ronaldos, and we've been very poor at doing that. So I think it's unfair to say that we're bad at it.
Yeah. Like the way I read that question is more, do we still have the same appeal?
Yes.
We once had.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we haven't been good at attracting those specific players, and we have to get back to it. I think there's still a lot of pull here.
I think like even going back to when you were speaking to Juve needing to develop the talent, the younger guys, and then you can work deals. Like we had a piece of business that got finished with Fiorentina for Rolando Mandragora for 9 million plus a small bonus, right? Those deals are great. Those deals are great when you have a player that isn't going to make your cut ever, but you have him out there. He makes those moves. The thing is, in terms of Italy, Juventus will always have that appeal.
Mm-hmm.
They'll always have that appeal based on history, based on another thing is the stadium, the training facilities, like everything, like they'll have that appeal to players in Italy all the time. For me, the prospects, what we really need to do to start bridging, we need to start looking at bridging gaps. And that's something Agnelli started to do. The Super League is nothing but a prime example for trying to bridge the gap. It's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better as time goes on. Juve needs to figure out how they can make those cuts, and integration is what's always been an issue at Juventus. Okay, so for me, it's not necessarily finding prospects, having appeal for prospects. It's what are you actually doing that entices these guys that want to go there? Not right now. The one thing we would have going against us is that there's uncertainty that's following Juventus right now, and that's created from managerial changes and seemingly a loss of structure in terms of their mercatos and how they've been operating. There's been a lot of uncertainty and flux, and it's been a little chaotic. So you need stability. They have to stand behind Cherubini and Arrivabene with enough time to actually truly properly gauge them. And that's even going to be requiring a lot of patience because there's so much cleanup that has to do that's not their fault, right? So you have to wait that out. The results do need to start coming in. we do need to start getting the results and get back to our winning ways. So there's a lot of stuff to juggle. Have we lost our appeal though? No, I don't believe so. In terms of prospects, we need to start integrating. We need to look at integration because that's going to give us the biggest financial savings in terms of salary. And then when you need to splash on those big guys, you can splash because you know what? At the end of the day, a lot of those guys that you guys want, what talks isn't our appeal, isn't our stats, isn't our, it's this. At the end of the day, money talks to a lot of those big guys that you want. And it's sad to say because a lot of us want to believe that, no, he wants to go here, wants to win, wants to all that. Hey, man, as long as you're in the Champions League, if you can give these guys the money they want, they'll come. And we've seen players go to dumpster fires that were playing in Champions League because they matched what they wanted to financially.
Arsenal.
Juventus needs to find a way to conduct business in a manner where they're saving and can splash when they need to splash. Right now, for the past several years, it's been market opportunities. It's been bandaging and just skating by, You splashed on Ligt, but it cost you in other areas. And it's never been balanced out. You brought in Ronaldo. It turns out you couldn't even manage his salary that you were going to pay for all that time because you couldn't even support the team well enough. So
COVID.
What's that?
COVID didn't help that one.
COVID didn't help that, but it's a reach. It's always been a reach. These young guys, prospects, all this, you have to find a way. And there you go. Newcastle is a prime example of what I'm saying now. Massive cash, no Champions League. Players are hesitant, but they've locked in on a few, and it's the projects and money will talk to players. If you're already in Champions League, which Juventus is, and we're making it even through the transitional stages, the next step is the money. And if you don't have the money, you have to find a way to make it work. The young guys, integration, guys like Fagioli, guys like Rovella.
Yep.
It's finding a way to do that. That's where you're going to get your biggest savings and be able to help. Guys, this is an argument that bothers me when I hear people say, well, we've only ever produced Marchisio. That in itself is a problem. Think about this. You're saying Juventus has only ever produced Marchisio. So let's think about this. Marchisio only got his shot probably with Juventus. This is a strong possibility because of Calciopoli and the massive flux. So does Marchisio, as much as we all loved him, the Principino, does he even get that opportunity at Juve if it were not for Calciopoli? And that is a problem. That guy ended up bossing the best midfield, one of the best midfields we've ever seen in that Champions League final, and he may never have got an opportunity if it weren't for Calciopoli. Juve's got work to do when it comes to prospects. What do you think about kind of what I'm saying there, Ann?
It's true. Who's Kingsley Coman? He's another. I don't know if we purchased him, but he was another sort of prospect that came through that was sold off, and he's been doing great things at Bayern. You're right though, but outside of those two, who is it? Pogba kind of came in he was very young when he came in, but he wasn't one of our prospects. Yeah, you can't really. It's these three guys, Fagioli, Rovella, and Miretti, who this whole system was set up by Cherubini. So we hear more about the players in our system and how they're progressing. I think there's I think there's a lot of hope for the future, but you're right. Our past actions don't give us a lot of hope that we're going to be using them properly. But now I'm not going to say this is the same as Calciopoli in 2006, but with COVID, with the current roster situation and the wages and the way they're fixing things, again, the team's hand is being forced in a good way to hopefully integrate more of these young players in the squad. De Winter, why can't he be getting more minutes? We haven't heard anything about him. Like, people keep forgetting about that young defender. So he's got a lot of potential as well.
I just think there's more maneuvering that can happen. So here's
Sule.
The standard argument, which is which Juve trained player has become world-class elsewhere. That's not entirely the thing, though. And the reason is because right now is the strongest our U23, like that program has arguably ever been.
Yeah, because now they play with Serie, so that helps a lot.
We're trying to talk about Juventus getting out of that. And yes, historically, you're right, Dels. You're right. But the thing is now, Cherubini, before he came into this role, his project was that. And it's great. It's loaded with players that are literally on the fringe of being integrated into our team. So what I'm saying is now, what good has any of that been if Fagioli, Rovella, all these guys, we're not going to start looking at pulling them in. And you're still looking at replacements. Guys like, Paredes, even though, like, I think he's good and whatnot. Fagioli, like, put one of these guys in there and stand behind them. Like, all we're hearing so far is that, we're going to go into training camp. We'll see. And then Rovella's name is now linked all over the place in terms of moves and whatnot. And you're still going through these phases where you can't afford certain guys.
But Baggio came from Vicenza.
There's work to be done there.
Yeah, so.
There's work to be done there. And the other side of it too is you've had to splash on players. So I counter this whole argument on how many players did Juve train that became world class. I counter it with how many players did Juve lose out on because we didn't have the financials that we could have saved by some young integration. You have teams out there right now that massively stand over and cast a huge shadow on Juve in terms of finances and still integrate young players. I'm telling you, there has to be a shift. In terms of the project right now, this whole Ligt thing has made everybody feel like there's no plan to this project. And I don't think that's necessarily fair just yet. What do you think in terms of people saying they don't see the plan of this project right now, Anth?
How can you not see it? Like, look at the players that is producing it and putting the U23 side in the Serie cheap. Great move. That's only been 2 or 3 years. So these things take time. Like, you don't just build a youth program, like completely revamp your youth program and it just works, right? You have to get it going. You have to get it established. Then you have to start attracting some of the youth players. We had that gentleman on from the U.S. Juventus Academy, and they do their academies and they send. We do an academy here in the Toronto area. They maybe send one player over.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not easy to get into the academy, and the players that they do there, they have to maintain them. They have to grow. So it takes time, but the path, it's a better path than we've been on in the past decade. That's for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's a better path, but again, you have to make something out of it, because just having it there isn't good enough. Like, what are you ultimately using it for? If you just want to use it for these guys and ship them off, that's great. If that's your game plan. But you got to hit on absolutely everything that you're spending your money on. And we haven't. So some integration, try it.
Yeah. Let's get to some of these. I know we're getting sort of to the end of time here, but let's see what we got here while Al coughs up a lung.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes here. 5 minutes, everybody. Storm the barn.
First of all, Anish, glad you're feeling better, buddy. Welcome back. I know you're sort of in and out this past month or so, or a couple months you haven't been well. Glad to have you back, my friend. Good to see you. Okay. Oh, look at Ernesto, of course. Ernesto, he's right on the money. Right on the money, this guy. So,
by the way, Ernesto, let's get that passport situation sorted. I'm ready. Hey, I've already got my bags packed for LA. I'm pumped. US tour. Flight
So that
booked.
LA game is Juve.
Real Madrid, July 30th.
There's
going to be a lot of cool stuff going on too. There's like 3 fan clubs out there. I'll probably be spending most of my time with the Juve SoCal one, but there's obviously Juve Hollywood and one other one out there. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on there. There's already been a bunch that have reached out to me, and I'll fire out the itinerary once it gets close. A couple days out, probably post on Twitter. And if you guys want to meet up and hang out, I'll have some Striped Hearts swag too. And we're gonna have a lot of fun.
So just so people know, behind the scenes we have that cooking. We're already here preparing for things for next season. We're looking into more live events. We have actually the All Juve cast is in how many different time zones. So we're all over the place. We're here, Canada, US, Puerto Rico. We're in England. Actually, England's going to be in Canada, which is a little funny. So we're going to be playing more of those, more fun activities for these shows. We're kind of bouncing ideas around. We have some that stick. We're not going to really reveal them yet, but we have some pretty good segments coming up for the new year. So hopefully you guys stick with us. I know you will, because
it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And we always say, like, hey, you want to see something, you want to hear something, or you want a segment added to the show, fire it at us. We're all about just continuing to make this all about you guys, because it is all about you guys. The show, I can't stress this enough, is nothing without you guys. Like, look at this chat. True. We've been at 50 whatever, rocking it steady the whole way through, and you guys have been awesome, and we love it. I love it when you guys, call me out on my crap too, and if I make a mistake, you guys are on it. I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So his hair was nice. Yeah, whatever.
Lorenzo, how good was Luca's hair? Oh yeah. Speaking of bad Salto Miretti, he's got to do something there. It's awful.
Yeah, he's got to get some volume in there. So let's see what else we got here.
Serie fixtures, and
that's right.
So the fixture list came out. Yep. And we're going to kick things off with Sassuolo, and that's going to actually be on my dad's birthday, August 14th.
Hey, there we go.
So, Sassuolo. And then the Derby d'Italias against Inter. We got November 13th. Not November 13th, the 6th and March 19th for the Derby d'Italias. Love that. Yeah,
so for the schedule, it is what it is. You have no... Beautiful. Look at this guy. This guy's the best. Appreciate the support, Niche. Anyone else, if you want to donate, maybe Al, you can explain that. You're more the computer tech savvy guy with all this.
Super stickers, super chat is always a way to help out and assist. Or, like I said, go Striped Hearts, and it all helps, right? So whatever you guys feel inclined to do. That Baggio tee's sick.
I love this T-shirt. I know it's all Juve cast, but I got to represent the sometimes. Yeah. So back to the schedule. Schedule is what it is. There is 1 week that sort of stuck out to me, and that is mid-October. We have October 9th, October 16th. You're at Milan, at Torino, 2 weeks in a row. That's sort of Champions League season. What's this?
50 on line.
This is unbelievable.
Get that up. Let's go.
Edgar, there he is. Edgar's the
Edgar was the big Icardi.
The Icardi guy. He's the Icardi guy. That's right. So that week would probably be, I'm not going to say make or break the season, but that's always a tough stretch. But balance-wise, I think it's really balanced. We don't really have any tough fixtures all sort of around each other. Like we have Lecce, Inter, Verona, right? So Inter's sort of not sandwiched by some tough games. We got to wait to
see what all develops there.
Yeah.
And how these teams are even going to shape up and whatnot. But the Derby d'Italia every year, just like for me, stands out. November 13th is Juve versus Lazio. That's the final one before the World Cup break.
Maybe we'll do something for that.
Yeah, so we'll
maybe Lucci and I will do something. That's
going to be the last one before the World Cup break. We have some cool stuff planned for the World Cup too. I'm working on something pretty damn cool for the channel.
I don't even know that.
For World Cup. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff in the hopper here. But yeah, the fixtures list is out. The away kit has been now revealed by La Maglia Bianconera. Obviously, always the ones behind the leaks on the kits. So that's just been dropped today. exactly as laid out. Looks cool. I like it. Pretty standard. It's got some weird like tree pattern thing into the black, whatever, but ultimately it's a black kit. White highlights. I mean, pretty simple. Pretty simple. Although
watching
I
it,
do
Aldo.
not blame you. I do not blame you for not watching.
I do not believe Aldo. I say the same thing. Like, I'm not going to watch it. Yes, you are. You'll put it on the background.
Hey, go Canada, go. Let's see what happens. That's an interesting group. But
we're going to get absolutely annihilated.
Yeah. On the kits, I'm always on the kits, Ernesto. You know that. Somebody asked me, I do have to plan out the next full kit collection shot. It takes a lot of time to set up and a lot of space. So preferably when the wife is at the lake, I will do that update. I'm at 129 kits, I think, right now. So we'll see.
129?
Yes.
That's a small village.
It's a lot of kits. I'm on the shelf of the closet now, and that bastard might collapse. I think it's time for. I'm not allowed any more closet space in the house, so I don't. Something's got to give. I was thinking about some racks in the background here, and just I don't know what I'm gonna do.
We're the dark horse with 2 broken legs, bud. Stop it.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what Canada can do. But guys. Mm-hmm. The Juve news is coming wild right now. I mean, when you even think, Zaniolo, one thing we didn't even talk about was it was apparently 25 million plus Arthur or McKennie. Like, it's all over the map. Nobody's set, in any direction. There's a lot of confusion seemingly by the journalists. Let's all relax. Take everything with a grain of salt, but let's see. But I think more in this show, we wanted to show just how difficult what Cherubini and Arriva Bene are actually dealing with truly is. Like, these guys, I don't envy them whatsoever right now.
Nope.
So let's just see what they can do. And so far, I mean, have they given us anything to really, really complain about? We could pick out the Keane deal, but as we said today, panic situation. Panic situation. So all in all, the January window was incredibly strong. They are trying to clean up the right guys. Most of these names that we're trying to move in deals are the right guys. Mm-hmm. So let's see what happens. Pogba helps a lot. He helps a lot. Let's see what else they can do. And things don't truly open up till the middle of this upcoming week. So let's see. Let's see what happens from there. Don't forget, next weekend, we've got Mirko Di Natale live here.
Is that happening next week?
We're going to do it. We're going to do it next weekend.
You're going to do it from the lake?
So we're going to do it next weekend. We're going to do it next weekend. We're going to make this thing happen. That is going to be the time where all you want to get in here and make sure you're here live, because getting that kind of access with Mirko Di Natale is always amazing. The guys,
can you maybe just explain? Sorry, can you explain to maybe some people who don't know who he is? Can you just kind of give a little bit of background on who Mirko is? And massive
Mirko
friend of the show.
Over the past few years, he's a journalist, and he's just started. He's not associated with say Goal or Tutto Sport or anything like that, but he's associated with Tutto Juve, and he's always been dedicated strictly to Juventus, and he has proven how reliable he has been in such a short period of time, and he's just grown so quickly based on the great work that he's doing. And like I say, you usually see some up and downs in the guys, and he's just not one of those guys. He's pretty much like this all the time, very, very steady, and he's great because he always gives you just whatever he hears, and he lets you figure out. You can go to whatever assumptions you want, whatever, but he just literally gives you what he's hearing when he hears it. And he's great. He's fantastic.
Is his fourth time. This will be his fourth time on the show.
This is going to be his fourth time with us, and it's awesome because he started off and barely had a lick of English, and now he wants to tackle the whole shows in English. So everybody, that's going to be the time next weekend. look for the date, the actual day, because it could be any time between Friday and Sunday. So we're going to nail down the date this week with Mirko. But that's going to be a great one because you're probably going to have some final deals to talk about, everybody.
Yeah, and he'll answer your questions.
Get all your questions. So
yeah. he doesn't, and if he doesn't know, he says, "I don't know." Or if he does know something and doesn't want to answer, but he's very good. His shows are always very, very good.
Oh yeah, they're great. He'll give you even background info, stuff that he didn't even sometimes release, and he's just like, yeah, I heard about this, heard about that, and it's just like, man, never said a word. And he's killing me right now on one story, and he knows exactly what he's killing me on, but he won't give me the details, and it's fine. I respect it. I'm still gonna rake him over the coals for every chance I get, but I don't think he's gonna.
Kalma is his best. He likes using Kalma. It's like Kalma. Like, okay, Mirko, just give us the information. God damn it.
I know he's killing me right now. He's got something really, really juicy, but he says it's done. Nothing to talk about, but he's killing me. He's killing me. Anyways, guys have been awesome. Enjoy your weekends, okay? Don't let the Mercato madness get to you.
No.
It will all sort itself out very, very soon, and then we can judge once it comes to the end, okay? So let's go from there. Now, last but not least, like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Please.
I'll be back with the daily update videos again tomorrow and the rest of the week. See what develops. Next week, another live with Mirko. Fino alla fine. Forza Juve. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Enjoy yourselves and stay safe. Take care. And if you're going to LA, reach out. Let's have some fun, okay? Ciao tutti.